Of course, Ernst & Young was the auditor for Lehman Brothers.
Yep.
The bankruptcy court examiner issued a report stating, quote, "The examiner concludes that sufficient evidence exists to support colorable claims against Ernst & Young for professional malpractice," unquote. How do you respond to that finding?
Well, what we did as a result after Judge Valukas issued that was actually put the facts on the table for our clients, for the others interested parties, and help people understand what an examiner's job is. First and foremost, an examiner is part of the bankruptcy court. That is, his job is to do everything he can based on investigations, very deep investigations, to identify colorable claims, exactly as that says. And so he's not a finder of fact, he's not a judge and jury. What was really more enlightening in some cases in the report was that he did not take exception to the fair values you talked about earlier, did not question the balance sheets or income statements of either our last audit or the quarters subsequent, did question whether there could have been or should have been, in his opinion, more disclosure around some of the financings, the repo financings that Lehman entered into.
Right. After the report, there was speculation that the SEC could file civil charges against the firm. There could even be criminal charges from the Justice Department. Have you had any indication one way or the other about any of that?
Yeah, I really shouldn't talk about things. There are certainly going to be, in the environment we're operating in, regulators investigating Lehman and, by the way, all of the other institutions that have gone through this circumstance. And, of course, there's civil action. It's things that Ernst & Young deals with regularly, but I shouldn't comment on that. What is important is to put in context the time under which all this took place. If you think back, Jeff, Bear Stearns was going to go bankrupt. Would have certainly been going bankrupt. The U.S. government funded an acquisition. Freddie and Fannie were going to go bankrupt. The U.S. government takes them over. Government says, we can't do this and bail out everybody, so let's let the next one fall. Says, you know what, that didn't work very well. The next day or next week, $100 billion plus to AIG, $700 billion to the TARP for others. And so in part, this was part of a much broader cloth. And I think it's important and helpful when people think about it in that context.
As you look back on everything that happened there with that firm, and it was an incredibly tumultuous story, do you think Lehman's managers understood the risks they faced better than Lehman's shareholders were able to understand them?
Yeah, I don't know about the Lehman situation. I won't comment on that specifically. But let me just say that one of the clear lessons from this crisis is that, there's a few of them. First, we've seen how interconnected the economies of the world are and how interdependent. We've certainly seen how bad business decisions have real consequence. And I think we've also seen exactly what you say, that the management, identification and management of risk was not what it needed to be, probably at the management level or the board level or the investor level. And so I think among the wide array of things that investors are all talking about is how can they get greater visibility to how risks are identified and managed.